A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Spectrum, live on Radio 1 FM 90. We're also broadcasting live on our website, which is www.radio1fm90.com. On that website, you click on the word Listen Live. Now, you can also find this radio station on the different radio listening apps. Now, those you can find in the app store of your smartphone. You download, look for Radio 1 FM 90, and as long as you have an internet connection, you'll be able to listen to us from anywhere across the globe. Do be part of this discussion. Share with us your thoughts via the WhatsApp line 0703 090 090. The guest tonight in studio will be responding to both your comments and your questions. Today we'll be looking at the state of the electricity subsector 1 year under UEDCL. Well, it's about 1 year ever since Uganda Electricity Distribution Company, UEDCL, took over the network from Umeme. They promised so many good things, and of course the government was also there promising investment and a number of interventions to ensure that we remain stable and also with electricity, not only for our homes but also for businesses and investments that continue to come to this country. So what has been the journey of UEDCL 1 year down the road? Have they seen any challenges? What have been the achievements? And of course, we'll be hearing from you, your experience under UEDCL. So feel free, like I've already stated, to share with us your thoughts. Use the WhatsApp line 0703 090 090. My guest this evening is the Managing Director of UEDCL, Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, Mr. Paul Mwesigwa. Good evening, Mr. Paul Mwesigwa. Pleasure having you on Spectrum.
Good evening, listeners.
All right.
Good evening.
Thank you. You took over the national grid of our electricity about 1 year ago. And, of course, the concerns that people had, the questions that kept coming up, people who felt probably you will not perform, those who believed in Umeme more than UEDCL, a government entity. If you look back 1 year down the road, what is your scorecard?
Thank you, Addison, and our listeners. Actually, it is 1 year plus 23 days as of today. And since we took over the responsibility, it has been a fantastic journey. It has been a fantastic journey with quite a number of achievements in different fields. Our first score was the level of governance to put system in place. That one we've achieved very well, and because of that, we have seen now stability coming into the distribution network. In a summary, the rest we shall discuss as we move on. Yes.
All right. You walk us through your first year of operation. What were the successes, for instance?
The first thing that we need to celebrate as Uganda is stability into the power distribution arm, and also connections for the customers that were long overdue. We cleared all the backlog, and now by today we've connected more than 236,000 customers. In principle, all the customers who were pending connection 1 year plus ago before we took over, they have all been connected, and if there's any who's missing by chance or by mistake, you can engage our officers, then we shall connect you. That's quite important. The other success that we've able achieved is to optimize the network. However overall it is, it has enabled us to increase the maximum demand in megawatts by now 23%, from 986 megawatt to 1,217. That's a fundamental achievement. And also we have been positioned to have financial sustainability of the subsector. You need to appreciate, and our listeners, that the most challenging issue which was affecting government entities 25 years ago plus was financial sustainability. That's quite important. How have we achieved it? We've managed to sell all the energy that we are selling and our cash collection is 100%. And because of that, we have been positioned to pay our suppliers, mainly the transmission, by 100%. For all the 7 takeovers that we've done for private companies, none of them, by the time we took over, had cleared the bill to 0. But UEDCL, a government company, has able to achieve that. That's quite important for this country to develop further. And because of that, plus governance, we have been positioned to secure funding, cheap funding for the subsector. If I talk about cheap funding, before we took over, under private environment, the cost of capital, including tax, was 28%. The funding that we are using now to structure the investment is at 8%. And because of that, the regulator managed to reduce the tariff by 14%. So you can see that our taking over is quite important and beneficial to the country. It is not all about rosary. We still have some few teasing issues, but we've now entered the phase of investment to manage those issues,
right,
which I will
it's also important
members
to hear about the challenges. Like you say, it's not a rose of bed,
yes,
a bed of roses. So can you tell us what are some of the issues, the challenges that you have dealt with?
The fundamental challenge that as soon as we took over and we triggered connection, we got a spike in the consumption of energy that's consumed. You need to appreciate, our listeners, that since time immemorial, the maximum demand in the country was 986. Now, by the time we ended in March, we had increased by 200 megawatt plus. That's a big jump. Mind you, the network had spent more than 3 years without significant investment in it. So if you increase the load, you get challenges. The network has started falling apart in our first 6 months of operation, and customers start complaining here and there. But what did you do? We did what we call optimization of the network, substation, and the feeders. There we started getting calm, automation in specific areas as we move on, but notably our customers on Entebbe Road around Najana Nkumbi, that is Masaja, Ndeje. We worked on them around November and they are now fairly happy. What we are moving on now are the transformer injection in the respective villages. But on a big scale, the situation has normalized. The same applies to the customers around the Namugongo, Chira, Gayaza, Kasangat. We worked on them in the middle of March to optimize the network by connecting them on Kawanda Interconnect Tawarigo. And I think now we no longer have load shedding other than the few faults that are coming out. But that's a journey that we are moving now. We have also now activated the investment arm, signing contracts with suppliers. We've signed contracts worth 440 billions. And the beauty with those contracts, 80% of them, they are bubu. We've made the industrial area, Namanve, our UMA members, quite busy on transformers, cables, meters. They're all supplied by indigenous Ugandan companies. The 20% of international farmers, because those materials are not yet readily available locally here in Uganda. So you find that in order for us to manage the challenges of lagged investment, but at the same time we have created an opportunity for employment, and the manufacturing industry is doing well.
All right, I've heard about your $994 million investment plan. Part of the ongoing efforts to, address some of the issues on the national grid. What exactly are you going to be looking at?
The $994 million, that's about 3.5 trillion Uganda shilling. It is our investment plan for the next 5 years. The critical issues that we are going to address arises from the natural growth of the network. Our connection rate per year is planned to have a minimum of 300,000 connections per year, with this from 2026 up to 2030. That is the investment plan. Now, every year, if we connect 300,000 customers, it means that in the next 5 years, we should have added 1.5 million customers. Currently, we have 2.7 million customers, because by the time we took over, the total number of customers was 2.49 million customers. Now, plus our addition, we will hit 2.7. Now, in the next 5 years, we shall have hit 4.2 million customers. That is relatively an increase more than 50% of the current base. It means that the network that was serving the 2.5 needs to be expanded. It needs to be strengthened, plus also creating that smart environment. What we need to appreciate as Ugandans, or in our investment plan as UEDCL, we want to move from the ordinary not updated network with smart to a smart grid. What do you mean by smart? That we can ably, for example, be in the studio here, switch on and switch off the feeders across the country, look at their performance, how they are loaded, and balance them online, such that the field people can do less work. What does it mean? It will enhance the response time. It will enhance the quality of service. And also, because of the government agenda of industrialization, our study has revealed that these days, even if you're maintaining a feeder or a substation, you have to provide an alternative supply. Because in the manufacturing economy, for industrialization, you should have a stable supply. Our investment includes a plan to have what we call N-1 or alternative supply at any time T. That if you are working on a certain feeder for routine maintenance or capital investment, the customers should have an alternative. So that package is inclusive. So it includes building substations, building feeders, and also making the network relatively smart. Plus preparation for the 1.5 million customers that we're going to add onto the network.
All right. Yeah. Despite all those, achievements that you've made, we still see complaints here and there. If you went on your social media handles right now, there are quite a number of people who are complaining about power outages. You'll see people in Nigeria complaining, people in Nansana. There's a group of listeners who are in a place called Mpata. They are on the Mpata feeder line, somewhere in Mukono. They have been complaining. When they saw the flyer for this show, they were excited and they said I should officially put their complaint before you. They want power. Power is never there. They have investments. Someone there has a resort, I think, something like that. Power is never there. They are concerned. What explains some of these continuous cases of outages here and there? And if you can also address this issue of Mpata in a special way, because they are listening to you.
Thank you very much. Our customers in Mukono, around Mpata, Nantabulirwa, Nabuti, Bukerele, in our investment plan, even as we talk now, we have a procurement for a contractor to come and rebuild the line. That area was designed with a small network with limited load. We've worked out that the network is overloaded above 120%. So it has hit its maximum plus also its life expectancy. So what we are going to do to rebuild the network, and the works are planned to start around July. That's when the contractor will come on the ground. We are in the final stages of appointing, but there's time for the contract to mobilize material, to mobilize the forces, such that by the time they come on the ground, there are continuous works. On addition to that area of Mpata, we can also go up to the streams of Kayonga. We've actually advertised also Kayonga Bale to work on that stretch, because even our customers in Kayonga Bale, including the side of Jinja, Njeru, we are going to build the substation at Njeru including the industrial park. Our customers in Kasangati and Nakwelo, that one is a done deal. The contractor has been appointed, land has been secured to build a substation in Mijera. And we plan to have the project done by December. So there are quite a number of areas. For example, our customers on Mitiana Road, if you look at Bulenga, Bujuko, up to Mitiana, the contractor is hitting the ground on the 2nd of June. Already appointed, handed over site, but now he's mobilizing the materials. What are we going to do? We are going to rebuild the line from Kampala to Mitiana to make it times 2.5. If I can be specific, the line was constructed by using conductors of 70 millimeter size. We are going to reconduct it to 200 square millimeter. That's the good standard. And in that case, it will be in a position to dispatch energy that's required. The same applies to the Masaka Kampala line. The contractor has been appointed. So there are quite a number of projects. Then here in Kampala, we are going to build a substation at Nakasero Hill. We are sourcing for land. There are some teasing issues, but at least we got 4 offers. We are evaluating them to see how best. The same applies to Chigo, because Chigo, you know, it's an upcoming area with quite a number of developments. If we go out of Kampala, Jinja industrial area, we are establishing a substation there. We are building a line from Mbale to Soroti to Tilinyi. The contractor is in the final stages of being appointed. So you read the quite number of projects across the country. And what are we aiming at is to bring up to speed for the investment that lagged behind for the last 3 years. However, what you need to appreciate that this project, the civil works, there is time for scoping, planning, scoping, evaluating, and appointing a contractor. Then when the contractor is appointed, even us, as we buy material, there is a lead time. For example, the lead time after you've ordered and paid for a primary transformer for a substation, it takes 4 to 6 months to be manufactured. Then shipping takes 2 to 3 months. So that means, in principle, those are 9 months. Though installation takes about 3 months, it would imply that such a project from inception up to conclusion is 12 months. That's the journey now we are moving on.
I can imagine how long these projects are going to take, and at least people are likely to continue suffering. So what's going to be happening? Is it power rationing? What will be happening in these areas where these projects are going to take place?
The effort that we've done now is to do what we call network optimization. Network optimization, that within the network that we have, how can we optimize it to the maximum? And because of that, currently we don't have any roster for road shading. What might happen in some places, depending on the load, in the evening, especially from 7 up to around 10, they might get some overload, the line trips, goes off. Then from the control room, they assess the nearby feeder where they can offload some loads. They offload them, then within 20 to 30 minutes, it is restored. Then customers enjoy up to the evening. We might be going like that till when most of the investments are done. For example, the customers on Mitiana and Masaka Road, Buddo, Nakauka, they are in that state. And we expect around end of May, June, they will get much more stability, because we are going to also to connect on the transmission substation around Boroba, which is in the final stage of commissioning. But they will get much more peace after the projects of Nakauka, Natete, and Chengera, because the contractor is actually on the ground doing the final mopping to lay the required material. So there are quite a number of activities ongoing, and because of that, we don't have a signed off roster for road shading. We are in a position to manage through the optimization.
All right, Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 today. I have the UEDCL Managing Director in studio, Mr. Paul Mwesigwa. We are looking at 1 year of Umeme, 1 year of UEDCL after the exit of Umeme. What have they been able to achieve? What are the challenges that they are facing? What are they promising you going forward? Now, I want to take you a little bit on the issue of new connections. It's a very important area. It's a promise that the government has been making for quite some time. As you know, there are some places in this country where there is no power at all, despite reports of the government indicating that we are actually generating more than what we can consume. So we will want to know how you're handling this issue of new connections. But also, there's also that government program of free connections. We don't know if it's still going on. If you can also explain that in detail, where do they apply? So we want to hear those details.
Actually, let me start with the question has two variables. One, line extension where there's greenfield. Completely there's no connection or there's no nearby line. And the second one are the new connections where their line is, but a customer is up to, say, 90 meters from the existing pole, low voltage line. So if a customer is within 90 meters from the existing pole, we are running a government program called Free Connection, where a customer can go on our on his or her phone, on our website, apply for a connection online, but using a certified wireman who might have connected his or her house, enter into this serial number for the certificate as issued by the certified wireman. Then we shall come and do inspection. If that customer has paid the inspection fee of 23,600, that is the inspection fee only. Then also pay initial energy of 6,400. In total, a customer just need to have 30,000 on his or her phone to access our application, make those payments online. Don't give that money anywhere else, because for us we don't collect cash. We collect money through mobile phone or through the bank. And as soon as those payments are done, we get them on auto message on our platform, our network. They come and inspect you if you pass.
After 3 months?
Inspection runs from 3 to 5 days, depending on the area. But there are some areas where the population is quite big, depending on the influx. But we've worked on that area also of inspection. Now they are fairly fast because we track them on a weekly basis. So they come and inspect you. If you passed, we just wait for a new connection. And what we've seen, there has been an influx of applicants, because since the population got to know that we've connected, since we took over, connected above more than 236,000 customers. That is a fair number. Now, as soon as the population got to know that we are connecting, we are connecting now. Now, in the pipeline, we have over 400,000 connections in the pipeline that we have to connect. And we are in the final stages of receiving materials. They're flowing in. By June this year, we might have received more than 6,000 meters and to clear the backlog that has cropped up. So that is on the side of connections.
Free government connection.
Free government connection. For domestic, but for three-phase and industrials, it's not free. It is a full cost recovery because these customers, they are doing their business. On the side of line extensions, so there are quite a number of projects which are being run by the government through the electrification program. That's where the line extension requires more than 20, 30 poles or extending line to a given village. So that program is run under the Ministry of Energy, and different areas, they are being mapped, being surveyed, mapped, as the government look for the funding. After connecting them to the grid, that's when we go in to connect the customers as a distributor. So that is the clarification I want to give in the moment.
All right, Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90. We're going to take a short break. When we return, I will continue with the discussion, but also look at some of the comments that you're sending in. Do share with us your thoughts, question or comments via the WhatsApp line 0703-090. When we return, Mr. Paul Mwesigwa will continue to share with us their journey over the last 1 year since they took over from Umeme. Are they actually delivering light to you as promised? Keep your comments coming, and we'll have them sampled so that Mr. Mwesigwa can respond to them. Thank you so much for staying with us on Spectrum, live on Radio 1 FM 90. We are looking at the 1 year journey of UEDCL managing the national electricity grid. My guest this evening is Mr. Paul Mwesigwa, who is the managing director at that entity, which was, given the mandate by the government after a decision was taken to terminate the concession of Umeme, which had presided over the electricity subsector for almost 2 decades. Let's continue with the discussion, Mr. Mwesigwa. And apart from investment in the national grid, the ones that you've talked about already, what else do you plan to do in future? Because from what you have explained, it seems you inherited something quite, challenging from Umeme. The network needs to be maintained every now and then. So it's such a very huge task. How do we move towards sustainability? Is this something that we are going to keep on doing every now and then? How do you ensure that we are stable? Do you have a time frame where you say, well, the country has, a stable network? In some countries, when we get visitors who come here, they tell you this is unheard of, that power can go off. Completely unheard of.
Actually, thank you very much. In our planning and investment strategy, we are looking at getting much more investment in, but based on our plan and our activities now, we believe by the end of our second year, because quite a number of projects would have been done, we shall get much more relative stability. We need to appreciate that these are civil works which always require medium and long term. In the civil work investment medium term, it is always between 2 to 3 years. Then by the time you clock 5, you've started entering the long term. In our medium term plan, 2 to 3 years, we believe we shall have got much more stability. Why am I saying that?
Maybe you also need to define to us that stability. What does it mean?
Stability means that the major feeders will not be going off unless there is an official announcement that we are going to switch off because of the works. And usually, those works, line is switched off from 8 a.m. By 5, it is back. Because we don't work capital projects in the night, people have to have light in the evening. And that's one. It is also planned that if you are doing some capital projects in a given area, you will not be switching them off every day. In a week, for example, as we rebuild the line from Kampala to Mityana, we are going to be switching off 3 days in a week, either on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then these other days, they will be having power in that portion till when the project will be done. For such big lines, it can take up to 3 months of works, but then thereafter, there will be not having issues of that roster. And it is quite necessary that, you cannot do capital projects works on a distribution network or on an electric line because it kills if you don't switch it off. And in this business, safety is paramount. That's one. The second issue that's also giving us head of problems is actually vandalism. Since we took over, we've had 360 cases of vandals. So that is a high number. That means on average, each day there is a vandal somewhere. What are we planning to do? We've engaged with the security agents. There are some other measures we are planning to put in place. But I can call on the population to be vigilant. Whoever comes on the network and you are suspecting, please engage them to avoid it. Let me go back on the stability again. We have started deploying transformers in the small localities of villages, cells, LS1s, different areas, because you could find on a village there are more than 10 or 20 transformers. We call them transformer zones, especially the highly populated areas. What we found out that by the time we took over, more than 10% of the transformer numbers were overloaded. That's about 2,600 overloaded transformers. So how many have we lined up to replace and inject? Up to about 800. They're in the queue. And how far have we gone? By end of this week, work in progress, where the people, our engineers are in the field. They are about 200. And how many of them have been cleared, ready for commissioning? About 170. So those are some of the issues that I'm talking about, which we are going to be clearing as we move on. And for those areas we have injected transformers, customers are happy. They will no longer have low voltage environment. Phases and fuses are not blowing out. And as we also do much more maintenance. So it is a journey that we've embarked on, and a good thing, we have a positive response on the activity that we're doing. And customers, some of the areas we've worked on, they're actually happy. And we've also got some responses in those areas. Of recent, we did a customer survey online. We moved from negative feeling. Now we are at mixed feeling. Yes. Mixed feeling, yes.
Does that make you happy?
A mixed feeling, yeah, because you're going there. Why?
Neither here nor there.
Yes, why?
That's a mixed feeling.
For example, today, during the day, it rained heavily. And there was a cyclone that moved around. Our customers around the Entebbe, that side of Najana Kumbi, it affected them. So some feeders went off.
And I wanted to ask you, what's the relationship between rainfall and, power cuts? Because you don't expect power especially to go during the night when it is raining. That's when it goes off. And, what's the relationship? Why do we continue having this kind of situation?
That's where I'm going, actually. It's not the rain. Power doesn't fear the rain. But what the rain comes with it. The rain comes with accidental issues. One of them, it comes with sometimes cyclones, winds, tough winds, that picks objects, branches of trees, and roofs from buildings. They are dumped onto the lines. Now, what happens is that we've configured our network that if there is a foreign object that falls onto the line to cause a short circuit, other than causing a fire, switch off.
So it's automatic?
Automatic. Why? For two reasons. For safety and to avoid death and damage into the community. And that's why when it goes off, we go on the line, inspect. If there are foreign objects like trees, for example, last week, I think on Monday, there was a big cyclone that passed on Lake Victoria at night at 3 a.m. By the morning, we found that side of Umpara, the entire forest had come on that feeder, and the feeders were down. So what the line does, to switch off automatically, to protect and to avoid the fire in such cases. So after clearing the trees, we rested the line. But you can appreciate where the line is underground, and there are no such cyclones, not every time that power goes off. How many times has it gone off, for example, here in the central Kampala because of the rain? Except when there was a flood on Nakivu. We had to switch it off because flood with water, it can cause much more problems by electrocuting people around. So the reason why it goes off for safety and also protection of the property and equipment. But then thereafter, we restate it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. We have a number of comments coming in from the listeners. Since there are so many, let's use this remaining minutes for you to respond to some of them, because they are the reasons why you're here. You need to get feedback from your customers to understand the challenges that they're facing and what you need actually to do.
Actually, I need to drive them from mixed feeling to positive feeling.
Positive feeling.
Yes.
We begin with a comment from Aboki Fred, who writes in and says, Spectrum, does UEDCL Power have a pact with rain to create space for one another, such that when one appears, the other takes leave. That's a very issue that we've been discussing. Number two, why is it that when I average 100 plus units a month, I am punished by being denied the 15 lifeline units? That's a bulky Fred there with that particular comment. Then we have another comment here. Hello, Kenneth. Greetings to the MD. Medad listening in from Bokoto. While I want to believe the MD that that the 1 year of UEDCL has been fantastic, I also want to ask him, why does it take more than 3 months to replace a Yaka Mia meter? Every time I go to inquire, the officers proudly tell me we don't have meters yet. That's a comment there. Then there's somebody who writes in and says the cost is higher than when we had Umeme. Somebody believes electricity is much more expensive. Philip listening in from Pererwe. Good evening, Spectrum. UEDCL has been perpetually load shedding the Lusanja area of Pererwe division, even today. To their credit, they respond promptly to customer complaints, but service is poor. They also restore electricity quickly. That's a listener who has a mixed feeling, like you said. We have another comment here from David. As the UEDCL talks about successes achieved so far, I'm here in total darkness, Kisasi Kanisa zone near the MTN mast, without power. Our efforts to contact the UEDCL field team have yielded no fruit since yesterday. Our neighbors have power for us, we don't have for the second day in a row. Can he inform his field team to come to our rescue now? Here below is my meter number to help them locate our meter pole. All right, the meter number is there. I think I'll give it to you so that you can trace and help them to get power back. Then we have another comment. Good evening, Spectrum. It's very good the MD is back. The last time you invited him, I raised my complaint that I applied in May last year, and my application number, he provides it. He resides in Mkono, less than 200 meters from the head office. I have engaged both the office and the customer service, but to date, I have not been connected yet. I cleared everything needed. That's inspection and initial energy fees. Some official from the office had told me to apply, but I rejected. The point they raised is the application that starts with APP changed to start with E. Is this my fault to have applied before that? Please help me, because what is talked on radio is not what is on the ground. That is a listener who is listening in from just opposite UCU in Mkono. His name is Stephen Boji. Then we have another comment. Good evening. I was in Germany a few years back. Germany celebrated 100 years without load shedding. Ask him why electricity in Palisa is unreliable. It hardly takes 2 days present, even without rain. Why shouldn't they connect for free? The electricity government pays for being generated and not utilized. Then we have another comment. The Mpata feeder, sir, is a disaster. We last had power in December 2025. And then we have another comment here from Francis, who is listening in from Agago District. He says, a very good evening, Radio 1 in Agago District, applying for connection under Free Connection Project is a fully funded project by Government of Uganda. Is up to 65,000. Can the guest clarify on this, because it's not far from corruption? We have quite a number of other comments coming in. Good evening. Thank you for bringing Mr. Paul Mwesigwa. He has explained the impending remedies to Jinja, Kampala, Mityana, and Kayunga. However, I'm raising the continued inconsistency of power in Mbale city. Power goes off for days without explanation. What should the people of Mbale and surrounding areas expect? His name is Matovu Waswa, who is listening to us. I will read one more comment and then you respond, and then we'll be able to take on more. Good evening, Kenneth. Thanks for the show. Our area in Bulindo, Chiwologoma, Chimwanyi, Nakwero still experiences regular power outages. However, thanks to the UEDCL team in the area, specifically Jimmy and his team, for their timely response in the case of a technical glitch on the power line. My concern is on Yaka meter operations. In the digital era, I expect an automatic loading, just like telecommunications airtime loading. Once I pay Yaka, other than paying, then receive a token, then punch that in long token of many digits into Yaka meter. Is there a planned transition to better digital transformation soonest? That's a comment from Moses there. We have another comment from James, who says, our friend in the studio should know that there has been a very disappointing situation in Masoli, Kasangati, since they came in. There just been a small team of his staff who disturbed the already stressed line with a tiny transformer located at the mosque near Masoli police station. To tell us that they have upgraded this area is to say the least inaccurate. I offer to give him the contacts of his staff who have made life impossible for residents of this area when he is off air. That's a comment from James. Mr. Edie, kindly respond to those comments, and then we'll take another bunch.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, our listeners, good listeners. Let me first thank our listeners who have given me that positive feedback and the mixed feeling also. And I also need to thank our staff regarding the response. What we've worked on, our listeners and Addison, is the spirit of response and obligation to serve. That's why our people are responding. And we've lined up a 24-hour strategy that even now, I can assure you that customer in HSRC, our staff should go and work on him or her today in the night, because we have a 24-hour team that works. If the issue is not very complicated, they move around, identify themselves in the community, and they restore supply, especially for those small village feeders that are supplying a village, and even restoring at substation, unless the issue is very, very complicated. So that is feedback that I could assure the listeners that our people are committed to do the job. Now let me try to go through the questions line by line. Meter replacement, delay. Yeah, what we found out, we did an audit into the network. What we found out, plus also the campaign for Weteleze. Weteleze yielded 36,040 meters, over and above our expectation, because we had expected that we shall only find about 6,000, but we found times 6. And also in our audit exercise, we found out that more than 45,000 meters, they're also 40. So in principle, we inherited a problem of more than 70,040 meters. What have we done? We are gradually replacing. The good thing, we press orders and the meters are flowing in. So for the delays, our team will be working around as we also clear the backlog. And because of the need to clear backlogs on 40 meters and new connection, that's when we recruited 1,019 technicians specifically to work on new connections and 40 meter replacement. 100 units, when you clock there, you forfeit the lifeline. Yes, that's how the tariff structure is designed, but at the same time you benefit on the cooking tariff, which is cheaper at 414 vis-a-vis 756 for the next 70 units from 80 to above up to 150. So that's how the tariff structure is designed. Actually, he benefits more because a cooking tariff is much more cheaper. Our customers in Mperere, Rusanja, they are going to be sorted with the project that we are working on for Majeje substation. Currently, they're being served on a feeder coming from Kawanda, Namulonge, and also part of Waligo. Waligo around Kumbuzi, they are served by that feeder. So the project we are going to do in Kasangati, it will relieve the pressure this side of Mperere, and we believe they will be much more happier. But specifically for that customer who's having a problem at the Masoli transformer, we can take the details of that transformer, then we shall work on it and get a bigger transformer, because part of the projects that we are doing on now. Delayed connection, I've talked about them. The customer who applied for power before we took over during Umeme, and the reference number is not very clear. Please, you can share through our online application or our customer service. Then it could be a specific issue, but we are trying as much as possible to clear all those complex. If you have a receipt online, you can also share it on addition to the reference number. The customer in Palisa, that line from Palisa to Kumi, or from Tilinyi to Palisa is a problem. It is an old line, but we are going to rebuild it. Last year, around November, we upgraded the substation at Kumi from 1 megawatt MVA to 2.5 MVA. So as far as supply is concerned, we have good supply volume at Kumi. So what we are going to do now, what we are doing now, is to rebuild a line from Kumi to Palisa, Kumi to Mbare, Kumi, Soroti, Dokola, such that you can either get power from Kumi or you can get power from Tilinyi through Bulambuli. So all that one has been mapped in that project, which I think contracting is finalizing, and by June the contract will be on the ground. Mpata, yes, Mpata village, Mukono, Nabuti, I even talked about this area, but we have a project that's going to manage that. It is called, it's around Seta, Nantabulirwa, Mpata, Nabuti, Bukerere, and the surrounding. What we're going to do is to reconduct the entire place and also enhance the supply. Mbare, the quality is bad. We are going to work on the substation in Mbare and the major feeders in Mbare. We've already secured the funding, and I think the advert went out for substation upgrade and the reconducting of the major issues. Yes, that the customer from Bulindo Nakwero regarding Yaka. As part of our investment for the $995 million, we are introducing a smart system that we are starting with 3-phase customers. All the meters we are deploying in now, they are smart. They are two-way. It means we can communicate to us online. So by 15th of next month is May, we are going to activate what we call the communication link. So if you buy a token and you're on 3-phase on these new meters, the meter will automatically load itself. And you will not even load units, it will load money. You'll be seeing your money loaded. As you consume, it goes on reducing gradually. The advantage with that, for the 3-phase customer, they will be in a position to benefit on the time of use of energy. So I think I've summarized the question and the comments in that order. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll give you an opportunity to make your closing remarks because time is not on our side.
Yes. Thank you very much, our listeners. It has been a journey since we took over, and thank you for supporting us. My closing remarks are mainly on what's the way forward and what's our future. The future is bright. As I've mentioned, we are looking at having a smart grid where we shall have alternative supply at the same time a grid that communicates to us. Connections are ongoing. Our material flow is stabilizing soon as we've contracted more than 6 suppliers. And we expect the current projects to be running. We have 10 substations in the queue. 3 of them are new: Chigo substation, Nakasura substation, and Imajeje. The 7 are for refurbishment. Among them there is Jinja, Busunju, Mubende, Masaka, Chireka. We are going to work on them, upgrade them ×2 of the volume, such that the customer can benefit much more stability.
All right.
Thank you very much for listening.
I want to thank you, sir, for sparing time to come here and give accountability to Ugandans about what you've done. Good luck to you in your endeavors. And probably in the near future, we'll continue doing an assessment, auditing the progress that you're making. Thank you very much, dear listener, for tuning in and contributing to this discussion. Tomorrow, same time, another topic will be on air, especially review of the major events of the week. But up next, we have the news in English with Miss Josephine Ndagano. Thereafter, the Soul Train with BP.